Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to show you how to make this really cute Thanksgiving turkey using a pine cone, some corks, some contact lens holders, some clothespins, a little piece of yellow foam, and an eraser. So this is basically a turkey made with a bunch of junk, and that's how he stands. So again, this is a junk turkey for Thanksgiving with a lot of creative supplies. So first off, I have taken the corks and I have hot glued 3 of them together. Depending on how long you want your feathers, you could, make them longer. I chose to do 3. So I've glued these together like this. So I'm going to show you. I have some loose ones here, so I'm going to take some hot glue, put it on, and just stick it together like so. And I'll put some more hot glue, stick it together like so. And again, these are some corks from wine bottles. So again, there's the other 3. So I'm going to let those ones dry that I just glued together. Since I've already glued some of these together, I'm going to paint them with some brown acrylic paint, some red acrylic paint, orange, yellow on here, okay? So I'm just using a very little bit of acrylic paint. You don't need a lot. So a little bit of a drop there. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint one orange. And I am painting all sides of them. So that way they do, depending on which way you're looking at the turkey, they are completely covered. And you might have to do a couple coats just because the corks do absorb the paint into them. Actually, I'm gonna put a little bit more paint out here. So just keep in mind, the corks do absorb the paint. So depending on how dark you want them as to how many coats you're going to do. On the one that I showed you that I had made already, I believe I did 2 coats of paint on the corks. So on this one, I'm just gonna do 1 coat of paint. So that way you can kind of see how to put it together without a long time waiting for the paint to dry. But again, you can, paint them as dark as you want, as light as you want. So that's the first one, orange. Next is some yellow. I like to be creative with stuff that you kind of find laying around in the house, things you can find outside to make cute little decorations for the different holidays. Like they say, creativity is all about how you look at stuff, how you make stuff from what you make. So there's the yellow. Rinse out my brush. Now I'm going to use some red. I'm using brick red. You can use the brighter red if you choose. I'm just using some brick red, just depending on what color red you want to use. And I do notice the lighter colors don't cover as easily on the corks as well. So do keep that in mind if you don't want to use a whole lot of paint. Use the darker colors and it will cover it a lot better. there's the red one. And I choose and just use the one brush, but you know, if you don't want to rinse your brush in between each thing, you can, you know, use different brushes. So I'm going to paint one brown. I already had some brown paint in there, sorry. Actually add a little bit more brown there. Okay, so those are the corks that I glued. Now these two corks, I'm actually going to leave the cork color. They don't have any writing or anything on those, so I'm actually going to leave these two the cork colors. Next, on your two clothespins that you're going to use, you're also going to paint them brown as well. Or you could leave them the natural clothespin color, just depending on which you're more comfortable with. I'm actually going to paint them brown. And these are just your average clothespins that you can find that you hang your clothes with on a clothesline, nothing special. Okay, so those are all painted. So next you're going to take your pine cone and you're going to set it so it kind of lays flat onto your table thing. You wanted to make sure that it's going to be the flattest way when it goes. So if you kind of set it down, kind of let it move into its natural position. And then you're going to take your corks that you just glued together and painted, and you're going to stick them into the grooves along the pine cone here. Some of them you might have to like break a little piece of the pine cone out like I'm going to here, just so that it will fit a little bit better. If you don't have these big, huge pine cones, you can use little ones as well. I just happen to have big ones around where I am. So I'm going to stick some hot glue into the center of the pine cone here. And then I'm going to stick my cork down into there to touch the hot glue. And then I'm going to stick a little bit around the edges as well, just so it sticks. And again, you don't have to put these in the same order I am. I'm just putting them in random orders around. And I always reinforce these with a little bit of the extra glue just around the edges, so that way they stick really good into there, because sometimes they don't always stick, especially when they're attached with the paint. And you can let these dry as well. I'm just kind of showing you to how it gets put together, so then that way you have an idea. And again, these don't have to be perfectly in any way. They can just be stuck in and glued on. So what I like to do, excuse me, is put the 4 first that are kind of stuck into the pine cone area. So that way you kind of get that base feeling there. And again, you got to hold them a little bit so they do stick. Once the glue dries, it actually sticks a little bit better. So the next 2, one of the natural ones, I'm going to glue towards the back of the pine cone here, more so on this area of the pine cone. So I'm putting lots of glue here towards the back, kind of make it so it sticks really good. And again, it doesn't have to be any particular order, just however you want your pine cone to look, your turkey's feathers to work. And again, this is about being creative with stuff that you can find around the house, around the yard, just pretty much anywhere that you have junk laying around and you want to make something creative. Actually, I want to switch those 2 up a little bit there. And yes, I am using quite a bit of glue on here because they do have a hard time sticking to the pine cone itself. So the red one seems to be having a lot of issues here for some reason, so I'm going to move it around. And again, it's all about being creative. You can see a couple of them are giving me a hard time here, so I'm going to kind of rearrange them up a little bit on here. All right, so once you have all of your feathers glued on, like I do, like I said, they're not perfect, but they're feathers of the turkey. Next, you're going to take your clothespins, and you're going to attach them to one of the pine cone pieces, I guess, however you want to call it, like so, and just open up the clip and kind of clip it on. So as you can see, it doesn't have to be perfect, but again, this is being creative with stuff you have laying around the house. So there are the 2 legs of the turkey. I do put a little bit of glue on those as well, just to hold them in place, so that way they don't snap off. On there. So the next step is you're going to take your contact holders, and the reason I have so many of these, every time you order contacts you get more, and you have 10,000 million cases, so I thought, why not put them to use? So you can either have them go the clear way, you can have them go the blue way. I'm going to have these go the clear way on this one. So I'm going to kind of find a spot on the turkey that I think they'll kind of look good at. And this, you just kind of have to, you know, move it around to where you think that you want them and how you want that on there. So then again, it's just about preference. I found a spot on there that looks pretty good. To me, at least, on my version. And again, this is being creative with stuff you have laying around. So again, put some hot glue or tacky glue, just depending on what you want to use, into the spot that you want them to be. This one feather keeps falling off back here. And then you just stick them on. Like so. And then you're going to use one of the old school pencil erasers that go on top, and you're going to find a spot where there's like a skinny one of these, and that's going to be where your goblet's going to go. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And you put a little bit of glue to hold it as well. And then you're going to take your yellow foam and you're going to cut out just a small little triangle for the beak. Like so. And you can put some hot glue on it. And you're going to glue it on like so. And then you could use wiggle eyes if you want for the eyeballs on here as well. Or you can use the acrylic paint. I'm actually going to use acrylic paint, and I'm going to paint little eyeballs on the little lens covers here. And there you have it. You have a turkey made out of a pine cone, corks, clothespins, a piece of foam, and an eraser, and a contact case. If you like what I did with this project, give my channel that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell so you know when I make something new. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.